Hey guys, this is National Master Kevin Yang back at it with another video. We will be talking about a game I played against Sethy5 in my weekly Simul. So I welcome all players to play me between 5 to 7 Pacific time on Fridays. And this is just another one of those games that I played. So let's get to it. So I was black. Our chess fellow member was white. So let's look at the game. E4, G6. So this is what's called the modern defense. Now, in the modern defense, black is what do you call modest? Black doesn't fight for the opening right away. Like you see, we don't go for this right away. Okay, so we don't go for this right away. We instead go for something called g6. Then let's look at it. Bishop g7, d6, knight d7. I'm not doing much. Although I have to say, bishop d3 is a little bit of a strange move. Because first of all, when you develop your bishop to this square, you have to think to yourself, what am I going to do with this guy? Right? Because obviously, when the bishop is developed here, now this pawn can no longer advance. Right, so what I would suggest is if you want to develop the bishop here so badly, why not go here first and then develop it here and then develop it here, right? So that's just one of those small improvements that makes development so important. So as I said before, right, so getting your king safe is one of them, one of the opening goals. You got to control the center at the very start, right? We're controlling the center, our opening principles, we're developing our pieces, right? And then we're going to castle, right? Castle one way or the other. So those are the principles we always have to keep in mind. So let's look at the game. Bishop d3. Now, I'm playing knight d7, and now you might think, well, you're not following the principles, right? Shouldn't the bishop go out before this knight comes and blocks it? Well, technically, yes. It's good, but I'm going to make an exception. Sometimes it's not the worst to make an exception. In my case, it doesn't hurt as much because this bishop doesn't do much here, right? I mean, surely it pins the queen and knight, but after bishop g4, let's look at something like h3, right? And then you might have to think, oh, it's going to get swapped off. And this is also good as well, but I decided let's not. I wanted to keep this guy for later for maybe a pawn push or something. So just follow my thinking. Knight d7, castles, e5. So I'm starting to finally challenge the center. And you'll see that in the modern, we build our setup very slowly. So I'll keep building my setup, but it won't be prepared until later on in the game. So after knight queen e1, which I thought was very weird, because first of all, I'm still looking at this guy, right? Where does you like what I said before is one should finish development, and when I think about it, I look at this bishop, right? He's not in a great spot. He's looking for a better future, and we should get him a better future. So one move that I would think about is the move b3. And the idea after b3 is bring the bishop out this way. Like, development is extremely important, right? Or, another one of those options is move the bishop out and then get the pawn out, then get the bishop out, right? Because I really want every one of these pieces to be in the game. That is an important thing when starting out in the opening, and that's something that I suggest. So after knight e7, because after queen e1, now this rook can't come out either. So I would have thought if you wanted to bring the queen out, the queen would go here to give the rook some space. But still, this guy's a problem, and this guy won't come out unless this guy goes out. So it's all a matter of development, bring the pieces out, and just flowing the game. So queen e1, bit of an odd move, knight e7, bishop c4, castles. So let me add on to my idea. So you notice that every one of my moves has been a gradual improvement, right? I'm not challenging the center or anything. I'm not putting my knight there to go here. I'm keeping my knights here. And I might play like h6, king h7, and then start my desired push. So our member Seth e5 is also making progress. Okay, so after d3, h6, bishop e3, king h7, rook d1, f5. So here's where I start to show a bit of strategy, right? I give two alternatives for myself. I want to get my knight out, my queen out, push, pawn, get the queen this way. The other alternative is c6, b5, a5, maybe something here. I don't know, but very random, right? So I am very flexible with where I'm going to develop, and I choose to develop on the king side. So after e takes, one might think, okay, knight takes, right? That's the simple approach. That is the best approach. And I would agree with you. I think knight takes is probably the best capture because after knight takes, well, now you open the idea of knight here and pawn in and pawn in. So that's something you open up. But in the game, I thought, I'm going to take with the pawn. And here's my reasoning. My reasoning is that I want to follow through with this pawn break, right? I want to get the knight here. I want to get the knight here. I want to push. I want to bring the bishop out, maybe the queen as well. So I thought briefly about the move d4, and I said, is this enough to throw me off my game? And I said no. So certainly the computer suggested d4 after knight here. So after d4, bringing the knight here, trading on this square, maybe my attack might disappear a little bit, but it's for now. So knight h4, and here I was already looking for ideas. I was thinking, okay, this knight looks really oddly placed, right? And as we said, knights on the rim are dim. So at first I was thinking, how do I take advantage of this? And the first moves I looked at were knight out, right? Knight here, not taking advantage, and also this move d5. And I really didn't know. I at first I thought, okay, do I want to continue with my plan? Do I want to play knight f6, f4, bishop g4, queen e8, queen h5? That was my plan. But did I think it was the right thing to do? I also thought about f4. Also thought about queen e8 and queen h5 directly. Right? I wanted to exploit how this knight was placed. And I thought, okay, maybe white's next move is f4. Maybe this move isn't as bad as it seems. And then I saw d5. And I thought, that's brilliant. Because after knight takes, bishop takes, I take the knight. However, I don't think my opponent spotted it at this moment, so I went with it. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to create a bluff. If he sees it on the next move, good for him. But I'm gonna not do it for now. So knight f6. Here is where I make the mistake, right? So remember how in the last move I said, this move might not be too bad. He wants to play f4, right? So forgetting about my thought that he was going to play f4, I probably should have played f4 myself, or the winning move here, d5. But I didn't play it because I wanted to conceal the threat. So I played knight f6, and by doing so, I allowed him to play f4, which is probably good for him because he can start taking advantage of this very weak pawn. So in this case, our Sethi did miss a chance with the move f4, like as what the computer recommended. I also recommend it, but personally, it's not an easy move to find because first of all, you have to realize you brought your knight out for a reason. And that reason was because you wanted to develop. So it's all kind of hard because if you see this move and you think I just want to move my knight out of the way, maybe attack this pawn, if that's all you see, right? One will never see this f4 idea. So it's really complex, but you always have to find that each move has a purpose, right? As I said before, all of my moves are slowly creating this bridge of development. So I'm slowly improving my position. So just like I said, every move has to have purpose. And I'll save the rest of the content for the next video, but that's it for now.